one more for me, and maybe Richard, you could comment on this too, but again, more in your philosophy. The university's kind of taken maybe a hit or two with practices in the past, handshake deals, a basketball coach maybe that doesn't have a contract right now. Just your thoughts on that, and Rich, was that something that you really wanted to have someone come in that had that type of philosophy, that there would be no more of those type of maybe deals going on?
Well, first of all, I need to correct you. The basketball coach does have a contract, a binding contract, and so I don't know where that misinformation came from. It was very important to all of us. I think it was important to the committee. It was certainly important to me that we get someone who understood the administrative side of running a $70 million a year enterprise. But just knowing how to run a business certainly isn't adequate here, because this is a program that is ranked, I think, the 14th best academic program in the country this year in terms of its athletic achievement. We were number 14 or 15 in the Director's Cup. Which was it, Joe? Do you remember? 14? Yeah. That's pretty heady stuff. And you've got to be able to nurture the kind of success that Chip Kelly and Vin Lanana and other coaches have brought to this program, and also give them the wherewithal to continue to turn these young people into wonderful, productive model citizens, which is what we're about at a university after all, and manage the business side. And that's a pretty tall order. There aren't a lot of people who bring all those skills to the table. We're really lucky that we found one who has those skills in spades.
We're running short on time, so we have time for probably one or two more questions.
Richard, you said the first time you talked to any candidates was yesterday?
Yes.
And you talked to all three of them in person?
Yes.
In Portland, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. And that was your first ever meeting with Rob?
Yes.
And you offered him the job when, specifically?
When specifically? Pretty late, well, not very late, but moderately late yesterday evening, right?
Had the committee visited with candidates, members of the committee at all, or the search firm?
Yeah, I'll let Robin talk a little bit about that, but we were in a really good position. We didn't have to be stampeded into anything. We were very fortunate to have Lorraine Davis serving as the interim. She's done a superb job. Going into this whole process, I checked with Lorraine to see if I could twist her arm into continuing beyond in case none of these candidates worked out for us. I'm a pretty persuasive guy. She was willing to serve until we found somebody. So we did not have to, we weren't about to be stampeded into anything. And frankly, I was absolutely prepared to go into this process and not choose someone because we had Lorraine in place and because things were working really well under Lorraine's administration. And I was blown away by the quality of the candidates that the committee had identified. You want to talk about that process a little bit, Robin?
Sure. Just want to kind of reinforce what Richard said from the beginning when we had our first committee meeting in mid-May. Richard came in and gave us a very direct charge. He was very clear about what he was looking for, the type of person, the values that were really important to us and to the University of Oregon. So the committee was very clear on its marching orders. He also was very open about the type of person that we would potentially hire. So we felt wide open, and we were very comprehensive in our search. We talked to a lot of people. It was a positive thing for me and for the committee, because when you go outside of your own department and you hear others talking about the University of Oregon and their perceptions, you find out that we're probably harder on ourselves and on, in this case, the athletic department than others in the country. This was a coveted position. Everyone I talked to talked about this being the opportunity right now in the United States in athletics, and I think that's absolutely true, and that's why we had such a wonderful a wonderful pool. So we had an opportunity to meet with candidates actually in San Francisco a few days ago in person. A subset of the committee joined myself and the search firm, Parker's Executive Search, who we use for this particular search. And we had extensive interviews with the candidates. We came back and we met with the search committee. We made recommendations to the search committee of who we thought we should shortlist. I then presented that shortlist to Richard for him to do some of his own due diligence at that point. He then had a chance to really look at the background materials of all the candidates, as well as other background materials regarding any information that could be problematic in any way. We wanted to make sure that was all taken care of. We did that as well. And then we invited those candidates to Portland, and we had extensive interviews again as a committee. And then Richard had a chance to meet with them. And then finally, the committee met with Richard and gave him some direct feedback in terms of our own recommendations, and Richard took it from there. So it was a very comprehensive process, very efficient, and I'm really thankful of the wonderful work of a committee that really was a microcosm of the university campus, faculty, staff, students who are really very interested in us taking our institution to the next level, and athletics is a part of that picture.
So how many candidates did you meet with in San Francisco then?
8.
8.
Time for one last question before we wrap up.
Rob, Steve Andrews, KEZI TV. Just curious if you had a chance to talk with any of the coaches yet, specifically Chip Kelly and Dana Altman, and what kind of relationship do you expect to have with those two coaches primarily, who are the ones generating a lot of the revenue for the department?
Absolutely. I did have the opportunity to visit with Coach Kelly. He was part of the committee interviews. Had a great exchange. Really admire what he's done at the University of Oregon, and absolutely, for a self-supporting unit, the revenue generated out of football and men's basketball is key. It's critical. Those two do drive the economic engine of a $70 million enterprise, so I plan to work very closely with those and with every coach to provide them the resources, to be their partners, to, again, move us forward to the lofty expectations that we're all going to set for ourselves. So I'm anxious. I can't wait. You know, when you talk to those guys, the love they have for the University of Oregon, the belief they have in where this can go, it just makes it all the more exciting. Again, all these pieces add up, and at the end of the day, I think Dr. Holmes is correct. This is the best opportunity available in the country, and I feel very fortunate to be sitting here today on so many fronts.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us.